And you guys are live.
Thank you. Welcome. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, a motion to call the meeting to order. I make it. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So,
Presentation of a repair reserve.
okay.
Schneider?
Hi, thanks. So this is our fourth repair reserve hearing. Done a lot of work. I want to thank Greg Cobell, who's here this evening, for overseeing all the repairs that we've done through the repair reserve. We have a small appropriation we're asking for this evening. As a reminder, as we always say, the repair reserve established by the voters. As of the end of February, there's $1.4 million in it. We're asking for a very modest amount for what we want to accomplish right now. Repair reserve can be used for work that meets those definitions: worn, torn, decayed, inoperable. That's the test. So again, the way we do this is we've identified some projects. We're asking, we had you hold a public hearing so we can discuss it, and later on you will be asked to consider a request to appropriate money out of the repair reserve to spend on this project. So we have two pretty easy projects. The first is here at the high school. We need to install some conduit for security upgrades. We need to run underground conduit from the electrical circuitry that's out on the roadway down along towards the edge of the property so we can install additional security cameras. It's going to be additional security cameras at John Marshall as well. That's the first project. Second project is, unfortunately, the exterior baseball batting cage had an argument with the snowstorm and lost. So we need to replace that so we can have that up and running for our baseball player. Those are the two projects, not very complicated. Any questions?
I don't have anybody from the board have a question? Anybody from the public have a question?
There are no callers on the line.
Thank you very much. All right. You can.
There is an item to close it out.
There we go.
Okay, so can I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing for the repair reserve?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so move on to the budget hearing.
Yep, so these are gonna be our last few departments. You'll see some very brief presentations on. Again, like I stressed in the past, these are not where, we have significant major money. And these are obviously things that are crucial to the functioning and operations of our district. In addition, after this, Sam and myself will present kind of where we are right now, and probably ask the board to act on our final budget numbers. So why don't we start with Greg Cobell, Director of Facilities.
Evening, thank you.
You're right.
I'd like to start by thanking the board, Superintendent Adam Fine, Assistant Superintendent Tim Franz, and Assistant Superintendent Business Sam Schneider, for providing facilities with everything we need to clean and maintain all the buildings and grounds. I'm proud of the work done by our custodians, grounds crew, and maintenance mechanics. So I'll just start, if you do, with some of the highlights on the budget. The first item is equipment. I've included some money for new machines at each building to ensure that the custodians can maintain their quality of work. Some of them are pretty old right now, and we're spending more money than anticipated on repairs this year. So let's see what else. Also, I've included some money for water fountains to replace those in the buildings that are the older models, and the new ones would include bottle fillers.
Yeah.
Not much of a change with contractual work. Would like to note though that the turf tank, now that we've entered spring sports, turf tank is doing a good job. And it's also, resulted in savings for the district. And another note with that is that over the winter, we received our custom cover for it. So it is now maroon with the Bonic emblem on it. So you can see it out in the field.
Good.
Utilities, you're not gonna see much of a change. You will notice a decrease in the heating oil. I think we spoke about that last year. And an increase in natural gas usage. That's a result of the boilers here at the high school running on natural gas. On pages 2 and 3, you'll see a slight increase in operation of plant and maintenance of plant contractual, just basically due to rising cost of materials. I would note too that we've entered into a couple intermunicipal agreements with neighboring districts. That would include some maintenance of their grounds equipment. And our maintenance guys, mechanics would take care of some small projects. For example, a couple weeks ago, at a neighboring district, we replaced some exterior lighting. And for equipment for grounds, that's increased because I'm hoping to replace front load tractor out there that's also at the end of its lifespan or approaching it. But in conclusion, overall, the budget is my budget is down, but still confident that we can maintain supply the same support and quality of work.
How is it going with the lining of the fields with that machine?
Yeah, that was the turf thing. That's what.
Yes, and that was, okay.
Yeah.
Is it working as we
It's
thought?
working now, and we're sort of playing around with the paint ratios to try to get a darker line
Right.
on there.
And you can do that, you can change it and.
Yes, yep,
Did we get a regular machine too for?
we did. We got a push, walk behind machine as well for backup.
Okay.
But it's working as we
Yeah,
sold it was, yeah.
yeah. I don't know if you saw it when you came in, but the fields out front are lined.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Anybody from the board have any questions?
No, looks good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chuck Westergaard. Acknowledge.
Everyone.
Chuck, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
So, our budget is, up slightly. I'm not sure the exact percentage, but we had significant cut last, year of like, close to 14%, 13.82. But in general, we're, just looking to, keep with status quo. We're replacing, desktops in the high school, which are over 10 years old, the teacher stations. So we got a really good life out of them, but it's time.
Yeah.
And we also, we have our Chromebook purchases. And the major changes in here that I would point out are just are some of our cybersecurity products where they were purchased 1 year with a special fund, and that was for a 5-year period. So that ended, and now we're continuing on with that service. So that was added under the contractual, and the other major thing that we're doing is also replacing our intercom systems and some broken locks that we have in the middle school.
Yeah, just so the board knows about Chuck's budget. Chuck was this year alone audited by the state comptroller. We did an internal audit, risk assessment on him, and next week we have a meeting now with New York State Department of Education regarding cybersecurity. So that's been Chuck's year, and this is his budget. This is the least of our worries about anything because of the cybersecurity related issues are the number one thing. It seems like it's on the state's docket. Every other email I'm getting from the state has something regarding cybersecurity and whatnot, and you can read about it in the paper. They're still covering the Suffolk County story and breach. So that's where we've talked about Chuck's kind of focus is on that, and some of this other stuff is maintaining all of this, but the focus is on cybersecurity and protecting the district's information.
Yeah, it would be a lot more than the last line on his budget if it actually happened, so.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Does anybody on the board have a question for Chuck?
Yeah, no.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, so, transportation, Colette.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Yeah.
Good evening to the Board of Education, Superintendent Mr. Fine, Adam Schneider, Sam Schneider, and Tim Fromm. Thank you for having me here.
That's a
And
combined.
before I get started, I just want to let you know what a pleasure it is to be working here and how welcoming everyone has been. All the schools, administrators, administration, they've been wonderful to me. And it's a pleasure working with everyone, so thank you. Our budget has not changed. There's been a little increase in our budget, which is caused to the increase of petroleum. And that affects pretty much everything that we ordered to make our shop run. So if there's any questions?
Just to jump in with Colette with the, because the mandate has been discussed a lot. We've discussed it as in board committees, but the mandate from the governor for the purchase of electric buses by 2027 at any new bus purchase. As of today, I had a East End superintendent's meeting. Again, I know where I stand. I think it's great. We should all be electric. I think we should be environmentally conscious. I don't disagree with that. There's fundamental costs associated with this and unreliability. So what we're thinking and what we've been advised, at least by BOCES right now, is nothing's going to change on that mandate until we get up against the date and whether they expand it or not. And I think you as a board will talk about options because I found out today that at least in the first iteration of this, transportation aid is not tied to the electric buses. I'm sure they're going to change that. But so if they, there's any pushback, but that's something Colette's been involved with. She was able to secure an electric bus for us. We made it around the block, ran out of charge. We walked back. That's not what happened. We made it around the block. We didn't have to recharge. No, we charge it. It was interesting. It's very interesting.
It's towed back at the end of
It
the
got
day,
towed
right?
back
Yeah.
at the end of the day because the one and only charging station for the bus is in Bridgehampton and it wasn't working.
Right.
Which
So
is
the technology is just not there yet, but
The infrastructure is not there for
Right.
us. Even the manufacturing of the buses is not there.
right,
So
Well,
I'm hearing a lot of what Adam is saying.
right, yeah,
maybe a good mandate would be to standardize the chargers
right,
for those buses before we get mandated to have the buses.
right.
Mandate a charger so we can charge them, be really nice.
Right.
So maybe that's something that the state can work on before they take our aid.
So there's a lot of wheel spinning. I'm working with Sam for an August deadline. And they're just trying to see where everyone's at. And I don't think anywhere is at where they think they are. So
And they want specifics. They don't want us just to say, we don't feel we don't want this. and that.
Right.
They know we will want them. They don't understand the feasibility, the grid, the grid alone, and from the street to our transportation center. The other piece is like up until like.
Can we even get enough power?
Yeah, well,
Right.
PSE&G didn't even know this initiative was going to, adversely affect the
We
grid.
have the conduit. We
Right.
did the conduit when we built the facility, knowing that this was gonna maybe come, but
Right.
there's not enough power at the street, I don't think, to even power the buses if we need it. So there's a little ways to go.
correct.
Yeah,
More on others than us, but it is what it is.
Colin, how often do the buses have to be inspected?
We get Department of Transportation inspects our buses 2 times a year. So every 6 months.
And then Montauk and Springs, they don't have the ability to inspect what we do, right?
That's correct.
Do we help them inspect their buses that often?
We are doing that right now. We're inspecting Springs School District and Montauk School District. And
So,
we're into a very good routine.
wonderful.
Yeah, it's working out nice.
And repairs too.
We do all the repairs.
right,
Yeah,
Great partnership.
yes.
it's a wonderful partnership. It
Right.
really is.
All the
So,
shared services that we
Yeah.
did for it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was secondary, I mean, we thought of it the whole time, but you have to build the building before you can actually,
it's a beautiful
put it all
facility.
together.
Yeah.
So we're getting new buses soon, or do we get them?
Yes, we're getting new buses soon.
And then next year we're getting, they've been saying so for several months, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We changed
And we're getting
companies.
new buses next year.
Right.
We're going to try to
There's
get
a
Correct.
company change, right?
Yeah.
every year.
And thanks for arranging the electric bus for us to,
You're very, you're very welcome.
it was good for us to see it firsthand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you very
Thank you very
much.
much.
Thank
Thank you.
When you guys are done with your presentation too, you guys will go and there's no point.
You have to say, I have a summary, you guys go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
All right, so just as giving you the latest and greatest update. So right now, we talked about this. The property tax at what we were allowed to do is 1.9 million, 43,451. That's the first thing that we were allowed to do when we began this process. Our health insurance increase was up 800,000, tuition revenue 940,000. So those were things. So that's 1.7 million. So now we're left with $200,000 to stay with under the cap. State aid, right now we have an estimated decrease of 775,000. So now we're even negative further. This could change, but Sam and I do not anticipate these numbers changing before you have to adopt the budget by law. So again, we're counted as a loss. The board can make decisions if we do get the state aid at that point.
But even if we got it, the same state aid, we would still be in jeopardy.
Significantly under.
That's not gonna balance our budget.
No.
If they give us give us the same amount they gave us last year.
No, it will take it. We are currently, and we'll go into slides, we are currently approximately 3.6 million over the cap. So just for example of that, if I took all the retirements that we had put in and didn't replace any of them, that's meaning mandated services that kids need to get E&L special ed and whatnot, we still would be over the cap. That's how much, if you could look, this is the big one, John, right here. Our tuition decreases, which we talked about, is close to $1 million. Last year, we brought in $16 million of tuition. This year, we're bringing in 15 million. This is a significant decrease for us. Great for our sending districts. They're not paying us as much because they have a decreased enrollment, but we're taking a big hit of almost $1 million. Again, this is stuff, and I will get more into this. I talked about it at the last board meeting. To get below the cap now, or if we go forward with a failed budget or a contingency budget, these are the things that are going to be affected. And this just begins to look at it. You've already seen other districts start laying off. And I said, again, the last meeting, I said, I do not think the timing to blow up the academic program is now. I don't think it's any time, but from what our kids have been through over the past 4 years, I don't think ripping apart our educational program, doing that, I've heard stories in districts of seniors being called back in and redoing their schedules because classes are no longer offered because, they're laying off 35, 40 teachers. I do not think that's my recommendation. 100%. I don't think I'm going to ever recommend that. I hope I never do, but these are things that could be adversely affected by it. Again, pretty significant things. So this is what we're looking at. And this is for you. I think we have to acknowledge this and there will be a resolution. It's up to the board, but we have to make a decision going from today would be,
The board pretty much needs to decide what we're doing tonight. If we're going to have to pierce the cap, I need to notify the state that we have changed our plan. We're going to pierce the cap. But I also think that this is the last meeting before we adopt the budget. So if you're going to make any changes, we kind of need to discuss that and know it now. I need to bring a completed budget to you next time, and I'm not going to sit here and do the math in public to work on all the details. So pretty much something that's it.
So our cap levy, our allowable levy this year would have been 3.39. We're at 9.77, which you could see is why we're up. Again, turns out, as you can see, it's around 3.6 million over the cap. And again, that's significant. We chose to really not hold the screws to the departments because of the minuscule decreases. So if I ask Sarah to cut, 10% of our budget, it's going to do nothing. Even if they all do nothing. If I wipe out all their budgets, it's not getting me below. So I'm not going to sacrifice that just to get down a few a few percentage points. These kids have been used to, I think, a top-notch educational program. They already have limited access to certain things because of where they live up the island that other schools have that can replace some things that schools do. They don't, and I just refuse to sacrifice it. I think our community supports our schools, and I think they're going to support this budget. It was done very responsibly. The board has been involved the whole way. The administrators have done a great, admirable job in this, and I think this is where we're going to be if the board agrees. And this would be the next step. All these little words Sam can read to you and tell you what you're going to have to do going forward and where we have to put it in the meeting. So,
yeah, I mean, in February, you adopted the property tax cap calculation with a clause in the resolution saying to, the administration was to notify the state that we weren't going to pierce tax caps. We are allowed to revisit that decision. So tonight is where you're going to need to revisit that decision. If you want to go with the budget that Adam and the administration have presented, I would ask that you would consider adopting this language at some point in your agenda this evening, which will give us the authorization to notify the state comptroller that we are changed our decision and we do need to pierce the cap. We see that some of our neighboring districts are piercing the cap. I think the point I would just reiterate and that Adam made, I think is very important, is that with a loss in tuition and with the loss in state aid, we had already burned up the entire permissive property tax cap increase before we even started the budget process. And so we were deep in the hole right from the beginning.
Do we need a resolution?
Well, the language is there. Whenever you want to entertain it as new business, Carrie has the language.
Well, that's fine. We'll take care of that after we're done. But does anybody on the board want to make a comment before we go any further? I mean, thank you, Adam, and thank you to everybody put the budget together. Sam, thank you very much. I know it's been done very carefully. And I'll say this, and I'm not sure of the years. I believe it's like we're 13 years in the tax cap, probably. Been on the board 11. It's a little bit before that. Think about, we need Rich Burns to come back and explain when 2% is not 2%, because it says 2%, but it's 3 point something because it's a levy. Think about your home budget over the last 13 years. If you couldn't go beyond that 2%, could you do it? You couldn't not sustain what the life that you lived, had before. Fuel oil would have probably put you over that, and the gas for your car alone. Right. So, I mean, the other alternatives is to cut things. And I think that we've got a great program. I'm looking at the kids that are sitting on this side of the room. And the truth is glad people are here, but this is the product that we get. And we're turning out a really nice product. And I think if you change it, you're changing the school forever. And, this is a blip, I hope. But, it's been a number that was sort of, for lack of a better term, sort of pulled out of the air, the 2%. I don't know where the number came from. I'm sure there's a little bit of thought that went behind it, I hope. But it's not sustainable. In the beginning, it helped us, and I will say that. There were some good things probably that came out early on, but we all knew it's also not sustainable. You can't continue.
We're living in a world where inflation is off the charts.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And the cost of living is so much.
Crazy.
And this is the reality of what we have to deal with. And hopefully, the community will support what we decide.
Yes.
We want to keep this school.
Right. And we want to look
running at
out and
top-notch
see
caliber.
we want to see full chairs. We want to see people that are making great achievements. And that's why we're here. Cool. Anybody else?
Yeah, inflation was at 4%. Well, we have a 2% tax cap, that alone.
Yeah.
And then just the increases in the health insurance.
Yeah.
It's like 15% year over year for a couple of years now. So that's just not sustainable. And hopefully it is temporary. I was probably one of the few people that was here 12 years ago. I was here for the really bad year when a lot of people were laid off. There was lots of crying from board members. Yes. It was an awful, awful time. We were cutting so many things.
Jobs.
And jobs. But even programs, we were cutting programs. We were cutting extracurriculars. A lot of things went away that we had. So I really would rather see us go ahead and ask the community for their support to try to pierce it this time, because I don't see death by 1,000 cuts. I don't see how you even get to that. You can't.
Not without significant effects to the students. I mean, that's where you are. The kids an opportunity. When they leave here, they're competing at college levels that are very high. if you don't have the tools and the equipment when you come through high school, well, you're done, you know, so
Mhm.
I think we've done really well and should keep doing it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think we have a great school system.
Yeah.
I think this community believes in us. I don't like the idea that we need a 60% vote. We usually get that. If we get everybody out to support this budget, I can't see, I support this proposed budget as it is. And I think the community should support it. And I hope we get everybody out voting and supporting it, because the alternative, austerity, we saw what happened to our neighboring district, wage cut. You know, that was ridiculous that they couldn't get a 60% vote. I hope we do. And I just think we have tried hard to be fiscally responsible, but we do not want to change the school in a negative way that staying under the cap would force us to do.
I agree.
Awesome.
100%. You know, we have a good school here. We have excellent things going on, and we do have community support. We just have to make sure that everybody comes out and votes. And I don't want to change anything that is in the budget right now. I'm perfectly okay with it.
Anyone else?
I think everybody said everything, so I agree.
Good. All right. So do you want to do the resolution now? What's proper?
It's up to you guys.
Yeah,
Sure, let's do it now and be
I
done.
think that's good.
Do
You want to move into the, would that be in the
301?
superintendent's report or?
yes,
Okay,
but
so you want to
that's
make it
okay.
first?
I'll keep track of that. You just
Okay.
have to,
Okay,
to read it.
okay.
When we get to it. Right?
Yeah.
Well, you have it as 10.08.
Not in the right.
Right after that, yeah, 10.08.
Right.
So it would be after budget transfer.
Wherever you guys, if you want it to be 10.01, you can. Under the superintendent's report and recommendations, you don't have to wait for the end. If you want, you can put that first,
Okay.
Okay, just read it right now and be done?
and you could do that too.
Okay, is that okay?
Absolutely.
All right, let's just do it.
All right.
All right, so whereas the Board of Education adopted a resolution on February 6th, 2024, indicating that did not intend to present a budget to voters that would require piercing the property tax cap. And whereas the Board of Education now determined that due to the reduction of various revenues, it will be impossible to preserve the district's academic programs without piercing the property tax cap. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the East Hampton Union Free School District authorizes the administration to notify the Office of New York State Comptroller and the district intends at this time to exceed the property tax cap limitations by presenting a budget of approximately $82,885,992. Can I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
I think we already discussed it. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you very much. Give that to you, just to give that to Karen.
Thank you.
All right, okay, so we're done with budget stuff.
Now we go to valedictorian and salutatorian.
All right.
Why we're here in the first place. Ms. Smith. You can stand next to you.
Yes, absolutely. It's all about that. So cool that all your classmates are here to support you. I'm thrilled to present. I'll do Nicholas first, just so you know. Okay, you're next. Our valedictorian for the class of 2024, Nicholas Cooper. He holds, by definition, the highest weighted average in the class of 105.92. The first image that comes to mind when I think of Nicholas is he is always on his way to something or somewhere, whether it's research or music or tennis. He is moving and operating with focus and determination. And you always have the sense that he's on his way to accomplish something big, even if he's just going from fourth to fifth period. Like, he's focused and determined, and that determination and focus has led him to unparalleled success, where he has
He is a National Merit Scholarship finalist. We have had only one in Mr. Fine's tenure. So another way of saying that is he is rarefied air. He's the recipient of a number of awards and honors. He's a member of National Honor Society. He's, of course, been on the high honor roll every time. He is an AP scholar with distinction. Some of his science research accomplishments really stand out. In 11th grade, he won the Long Island Science Congress. He was awarded the highest honor mastery in STEM. In other words, he won, which led him to compete at the state level, where he did incredibly well. In 12th grade, he has had an internship with the South Fork Sea Farmers, and he established an oyster reef in Accabonac Harbor. Part of that really nuanced and intricate process was he presented to the town trustees to get approval to construct the reefs in itself. So Nick was the brains behind that whole operation. He's also a member of the East Hampton Town Proclamation for Environmental Conservation. He's also an accomplished musician. You can't talk about Nicholas without talking about music. He's a member of the Triumph Music Honor Society. He was invited to New York State All-State Choir. He was in All County in both his junior and senior years. And according to his music teachers, he will be greatly missed because he has perfect pitch. I will not test for you because I can't. And he also is quite the tennis player. He's the team captain. He has 2 all-county awards in 10th and 11th grade, and he's a universally ranked player. He is the very definition of an involved student, the president of Key Club, the president of Camerata, a member of jazz band, the treasurer of Garden Club. He has 199.5 community service hours, and there's more on the way, we promise, for National Honor Society. And he is still deciding where he will attend college in the fall. As of right now, I think it's safe to say that the Ivies are fighting over him as we speak. You know, I know that he will have his pick, and where you decide to go, they are more than likely to have you, just as we have been. So, without further ado.
Want him in there? All right. Well, you guys get it. Yes. Oh, we'll do it now.
Oh. Very nice. Thank you.
Exactly. All right. I'm going to stand to support the yes. Awesome. No, good stay. Okay. Next, we have Leah Fromm, the salutatorian of the class of 2024. And she currently holds a GPA of 105.23. Nothing to scoff at. Leah quite literally does it all. To give you a feel for her schedule of February and March alone, which I think speaks volumes of her. Over the February break, she went to Nicaragua for Build On. She landed on Saturday to return. And on Sunday night, she went to rehearsal for Anything Goes, and went to Tech Week that week for the play. And then the following weekend was then the lead of the play of Irma. She was hilarious, did an outstanding job. That same week, right after the play, she did the Long Island Science and Engineering Fair, where she won. I'll say more about that later. Also in that week, she organized our school-wide March Madness. And the following week after that, she began spring sports. And this Thursday, she will head to Cornell to compete in the World Food Prize. She handled it all with grace. I would try to check in with her because I knew how busy she was here and there in the hallway. And she always had it under control. One day, I think she said, I'm a little tired. But other than that, she moved right on. Academically, Leah is incredible. Most recently, she won LISA. which means we have never had that in the past. It means she is headed to LA for the International Science and Engineering Fair for her research on hydroponically grown lettuce. Did I get that right? Okay. She will also be, of course, heading to Cornell this week to compete in the World Food Prize. Last year, she was awarded the Long Island Science Congress High Honors Award. Outside of science, she is a member of National Honor Society. She has received gold awards in so many places, too many to list, but a few highlights: AP Literature and Composition, AP Research, AP Environmental, and Pre-Calc. She has completed one of our most prestigious internship projects through LTV, and she qualified for the AP Capstone Diploma in grade 11. She is a true leader. She is the president of Student Association. She was the president of her class, grades 9 through 11. She is the Triumph Music Honor Society president, the co-founder and vice president of Model UN, the vice president of Interact, the National Honor Society vice president, and the list goes on to include just being members of other clubs, including Inclusion Rec Club, Book Club, and Key Club. She is a dedicated lifeguard in the summer, you'll be glad to know. And in her spare time and her community service, she has a total of 371 hours. So we are all very proud, including her family, that she will attend Cornell University.
Can I get a picture?
I gotta do another one. We're not valedictorian at the salute. That's the problem.
You tried.
Congratulations. Yeah. Very excited. Okay. Thank you. And know you thought all these students were here for the budget hearing. They're actually here to talk about their build-on trip to Nicaragua. So I'm going to introduce the people who need no introduction: Billy Barber, Kathleen Brown, and Robin Jehoda. And the student
Gotta move. Just point me like
so we yeah, so you guys can all just kind of stand around, stand back.
We really rehearsed.
You might want to chime in from time to time. We're just going to run through some of the basics of the program and then some of the experiences that we had as a group, particular to this trek. This is, I think, this is the 8th school that we've built, but this is the 7th trek that we've been on. We did build a school during the COVID years, but we didn't obviously send people on treks. So we've done a pretty good job as a chapter of the buildon.org nonprofit. So this year we went to Nicaragua, as you know. The way it works is we start out with a lot of applicants. A lot of people show up to the first meeting, then hear about the latrines and hear about the showers. Then we get 51 to the second meeting. Then they see the application, and a lot of people don't fill it out. It's intentionally long. And then I ended up with 38 applicants or applications. And then we were limited in how many people we had or that we were able to take. And then Robin bugged them enough that they allowed us to take more people, which is fortunate because we don't like to turn people away. We don't like to tell people that they, can't come because it's such a remarkable experience. And I think it's because we've done such a good job over the years that Build On was comfortable letting us schlep 20 high school kids throughout South America. But our travel was really extensive this year. There's a GIF of our run through. I did that. I made that by myself. It took a while. But we took a bus, then a plane, then another plane, then another bus, and we got to the hotel. And we stayed overnight, and we took another bus, and the village was so remote that we had to switch over to four-wheel drive vehicles. I'm not liking what Jack was doing in his four-wheel drive vehicle, but have that conversation later. But it's a long way to get to the village. I think. Does anybody want to comment on the travel? What was your favorite part? Yeah.
I was really nervous about the bus because I get bus sick, but it was so nice to like, even though it's like a long hours on the bus, you're in like such a new environment with such like fresh air and the wind blowing in your face that it was very like, it was really cool. Like I spent the entire time like looking at the window, the whole whatever 3 hours it was until we stopped in another 3 hours, like just the entire time looking at the sites and stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to travel, and it breaks up. So you can see the big circle there is the region in which Build On operates in Nicaragua. We fly to Managua, then take the bus to Matagalpa, stay overnight, and then we head up north towards Honduras. Immediately when we get there, we have a ceremony. You can see some of our students got to speak at the opening ceremony, and then a couple more spoke at the closing ceremony. They do some traditional dances. We sang, what do we sing? Hooked on a Feeling, yeah, the old American standard. So, our kids did a great job of communicating and presenting, our group to the village. Then the way it works is we are in a covenant or a contract, for lack of a better term, where we agreed to provide the construction materials and the labor, and then they also agreed to provide, the labor when we leave, and they're responsible for providing sand and some other raw materials. And so we all agree by signing the covenant. And you can see in the center there's a lot of people in the village that can't read or write, and so part of our obligation is to provide an adult literacy program, which we raised the money for. These guys did an amazing job of raising the money, not only for the construction materials, but also for the adult literacy program. So after the kids in the village are done, with school during the day, any adults that can't read or write are able to come. And a couple of years ago, we stopped off at a school that we built in Nepal, and we talked to some of the adults that were able to participate in the adult literacy program that we funded, and they talked about how it changed their life and the relationship that they have with their children. And it's just, been a really positive experience so far. Each of the kids has a host family. We don't ever let the kids stay by themselves with the host family. They go in groups, but who wants to talk about their host family? Go. Oh yeah, because there's a picture of Dylan crying.
Not this one. My host family is the one kind of like the big picture right there. My host family was amazing. So our mom, especially, she was like the most probably like thoughtful person I met the whole trip, or like ever. She would wake up before we woke up, and we woke up super early. We were up at like 5-ish. Nezzy was with us. It was with our host family too. And she would be like in the kitchen making things. And there was one morning she like invited us and taught us how to make tortillas like by hand. And she was like so good at it. We were terrible at it, but she was really good at it. And then she would like offer us coffee. It was amazing. Our host family was beyond.
The families are really welcoming, and it's a really nice experience for these guys to bond with not only the host parents, but certainly the kids. And so they're well taken care of, which is my primary objective. Then, of course, we're there to build a school. So you can see there's several pictures of the kids engaged in various construction activities. There's a couple of people painting, a couple of people digging holes. The rebars, would you say the rebar is the easiest?
Yeah.
You get to hang out. Oh yeah, painting was pretty easy too, it looks like. And then we see the two guys down in the lower left are actually skilled laborers. There's people that know what they're doing. It's not just us like winging it. These guys actually know what they're doing, and so they help us out by telling us what we are doing wrong and what we're doing right. And then a really fun tradition in Nicaragua and Guatemala actually is you get to put your handprint on a block, and you'll see later on after we leave, the construction continues, and you'll see that some of the blocks are actually in the foundation and the walls. So it's a really positive experience for the kids to be. You can see there's a picture of the school that's being built, and there's a little kindergarten school that's happening, while we were in the village that we took a picture of. So you can see the upgrade that they're going to experience. It's, really well constructed, and it's meant to withstand the elements for the region. The life in the village, there's Kathleen's roommates, you can see. Do you want to talk about your buddies?
Well, when we arrived, we found a hen and her 11 eggs, and when we left, we had the hen and her 11 teenagers, basically. But every night when we got home, the host dad had to go in, and our sister held the mom, and he collected all the chickens into the basket and moved them out of our
Whose house is
that?
that?
Was a nightly.
That's me, Katie.
That's your house.
Yeah.
And then, anybody recognize that bathroom?
Oh,
See, that's the picture that's the picture that keeps about 30 kids from coming back. So a big part of this is just experiencing life in a village. And you can go to a place and you can visit, you can stay in a hotel, but these guys actually get to live very similar to the way the people live every day. And we shared some things. So one of the guys came up with the idea of teaching the kids how to make s'mores. So we taught the whole village how to make American s'mores. You can see the food is excellent. We had an amazing cook, which I credit with keeping our kids not just healthy, but certainly healthy in mind and spirit. They were really great. They had a lot of energy. We had relatively few bouts of homesickness or crying or whatever, and so I attribute that to the
handle that. As you can tell.
No,
That's why we go.
My hugs are for emergencies only. So an awesome thing that happened, you can see our resident baseball player here, Kieran. We took a hike to this village. Well, I didn't know there was going to be a suspension bridge, otherwise I may not have agreed to go. So we took a hike to this little river, and then on the other side of the river was, for Nicaragua, a relatively flat and open area. And kids brought their baseball gloves and they started to have a catch. And next thing you knew, about 15, 20 people came out of the hills, and the impromptu baseball game broke out. And Kieran and Juan both had nice hits. I'm not going to leave you out. But you could see one of my favorite parts is this catcher right there. He just has a glove and a mask, and they're like playing. Nico is having full body armor on when he's playing, and here these guys are just wearing a mask. So that was a lot of fun to kind of share in something that we both cultures enjoy. And then there's Riley and Judah teaching them how to teaching kids some English. And that was a really fun part of this track. That's the first time we've ever done that, is broke the kids off and helped them teach the kids. What are we making there, Marlena? That's you, right?
The cookie thing.
Oh yeah.
Sugar cane
cookies. So we, in the afternoon, we engage in different types of cultural workshops, whether it's learning how to make coffee or learning how to make breakfast treats or whatever. So the biggest part, I think most people would agree, or one of the most impactful elements, is just the connections that they make with the kids. And you can see our kids love their kids, and their kids, these guys are like rock stars. Everywhere they go, everybody follows them. They want to be with them. They want to hang out. And you can see they have such a good time, and they make such an indelible mark. They'll never forget these kids, obviously. And they have so much fun. And, there's a little bit of crying there, which is heartfelt. And I think it's really amazing that our kids get in touch with their emotions. And Nikki had a birthday while she was there, right? You want to talk about your birthday party?
Yeah, I turned 18 on Trek, which my mom hated, but I loved. And I thought that was super cool, but I was actually really nervous because my birthday falls on the February break, so I never celebrated it before with any other kids my age. Usually it's just my 60-year-old parents. So I was really nervous. And when we got there, everybody was so sweet, and all of my friends from school were obviously so sweet. But the real surprise was when Dylan and Nezzy's little sister from their house came and gave me like a flower crown, and she got, as you guys can see, all dressed up in her little red dress for me, which was so special. And then a couple days later, actually, we had a cultural workshop where the girls on Trek got to talk to the women of the village and sort of ask them questions. And one of them shared that she had a birthday like the day or two after mine, which was so special. But yeah, that was a really fun day. It was super cool.
You remember that forever.
I will, yeah, 100%. It's also Lola's birthday today, right now.
Happy birthday, Lola.
So, it was 1 month ago today, February 19th, and now this is March 19th.
So this is the Build on Check team that makes sure that we get where we have to go, make sure that we have what we need. There's Ulysses who organizes all of the, buys all the food, makes sure that the connections are made with the, 4-wheel drives and the, coordinates with the Minister of Education. Then we have 2 translators, Fatima and Hyro. Hyro's got the giant guns on the end. And then we also have Kathy, who is our Trek guide, who meets us in the airport, takes us around. And then we have, just in case of emergency, our emergency driver, who is, for me as a social studies teacher, it was fascinating. He was a child soldier. For those of you that remember the Sandinistas Civil War, he was one of the children that was taken from his family when he was 12 years old by the Sandinistas. And he showed me where he got shot. He showed me the scar near El Qua, which is the nearest city to where we stayed. And he's, because he didn't have a childhood, I think he's very playful and he's always scaring me. And so he was really awesome. And the e-driver is there just in case somebody needs to be evacuated from the village for an emergency or something along those lines. So we're well taken care of when we're on track. We have a really solid team, including the to the co-mothers of the group who do a really great job of making sure our kids are, drinking water, putting on sunblock, brushing their teeth, etc. One of my favorite things is the last night where, so in the middle of the trek, we have effectively a Secret Santa. So in the middle of the week, we pick names out of a hat. And then you have to make a gift for that person. And then the last night at dinner, you have to say something nice about that person and then present them with a gift. And I cannot tell you how creative these guys are and just how amazing they are at expressing their emotions and expressing their feelings and showing appreciation for the kids that they're, assigned to give gifts for, and just how amazing they are at making things. Just, whether it's, Ninja Turtle swords or a flower out of whatever that is. So it was, and it was one awesome heartfelt gift after another. So I couldn't have been more proud of them. And then of course they're continuing the work as we speak. There's, I think that's Nicole's thing right there.
Yeah.
And there's also one video here, and you can see the mom right there is so touched and she's so, broken up about us leaving the village that it's really pretty touching. And so this is the, the final goodbye and the last day. And, it's not easy to leave, but, we got to get back.
You gotta shower.
We got to run. Miami Airport. So, these guys are amazing. To your point earlier, I think we do an amazing job in this district, and you guys certainly deserve a lot of credit for that. And giving these guys the opportunity to, go and have a real impact on other people's lives, and also at the same time, do something for themselves to enrich their own lives is pretty special. So that's it. If you've got any questions.
A couple kids want to say something about.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the kids are great, but so are you guys. We appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
And if you want to, you don't have to, but if you want to say something, have at it.
Well, before this trip, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't have such a great appreciation for education and just plainly honest. Right. But after this trip and seeing what these kids have had, I mean, they didn't even have toilets for the most part. It's sad. It's sad to see the living situations others might be in, and all the hard work that we've done. We were working for 4 or 5 days. It wasn't anything too much, but then coming back here, it just gave me such a rich appreciation for everything that we have and all the programs that y'all offer here. So it was something that I just won't forget. And I think it's something very important that happened in my life. I've been lucky enough to be in situations and backpack across South America, but this memory with this group of people, I don't think I'm ever going to forget.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So it's kind of similar. Before we went
This brown is.
Get it on LTV.
What happened?
Okay. So I signed up for this originally. I saw like the Instagram post. I thought it looked fun. Like I wanted to help out, whatever. But I didn't realize the effect that it would have in my life after the trek. Getting there, and I didn't really have any expectations, but seeing how this community lived and how happy they were with essentially nothing compared to what we are used to every single day is really like, it's crazy. And it makes you so grateful for everything we have here, like our toilets, showers, literally everything. And also seeing how happy and how loving everyone in that community is really just makes such an impact on your life, seeing like really money does not bring you happiness and that you can be the happiest people in the world with basically nothing.
Does anybody have any questions for us as a group?
How long were you guys there for?
So we're in the village for 5 days in the village, so it's really a 10-day excursion from the time we leave. It took us a long time to get home. It was like 19 hours, I think.
2-day trip to get
So
there.
we left here at what, 2:00 in the morning because we have to be there before an international flight about 3 hours ahead of time. And then we fly to Miami, had a layover, and then we flew to Matagalpa, then we get in the bus. And then, so it's just one thing, but it does break it up and it is exciting to be sure. But you know, it is a long coming home. We had a couple of hiccups, which thankfully we were able. The Bill-On people got in touch with the airline, and essentially they met us at the airport and took us VIP style through customs. You have to go in Miami. You have to go through customs, you know, recheck your bag, go through security again, and then get to the gate. We only had 2 hours, and our flight was delayed in Nicaragua, so I was stressing out.
And someone's bag
thankfully-
went missing.
Yeah, so, but you know, it worked out. The group is really good.
Well, it seems like it's an experience that they've all appreciated, and they and I'm sure all the other kids that you've taken year after year.
Yeah.
And
Billy, have you done it? All 7 of the tracks? Have you done all, and Kathleen too?
Yeah, so
Billy's done all.
I've done all 7. Kathleen's done 3, and Robin's done 4, and Andrea Hernandez did 1.
And this is the largest group.
This was, yes, the largest group. We did take 19 to Nepal on the first go round. Then they changed the rules and left it to 15. But fortunately, when we were in Guatemala last year, we were with the head Trek guy, and he saw how special the group is and how, you know, we kind of know how to do it. They're very good at following directions. If they're not, I don't know what to say, but they're very good at following directions in country, and they move quickly. They, you know, comply with all directives. The one that I have trouble with, they always want to pet the dogs, which they're not allowed to do. I don't want any diseases from any perros coming back. But other than that, they're always pretty amazing. Some people forget some sunscreen, some people don't eat protein, but we make, you know, we're constantly monitoring their behavior. Constantly monitoring.
well, you do it again.
Do you
Will you do
feel,
it again?
Oh, yeah.
just for all of you guys, do you feel that you've become closer as friends just through this experience?
Yeah.
People I never talked to before.
Yeah.
I have to say, I do try to pick people that wouldn't necessarily know each other. That's one of my favorite parts, is getting 2 people that walk past each other in the hallway as sophomores and then plopping them together in some village in Africa, somewhere in Nepal, and getting them to form bonds that will last a lifetime. It's a really fun part of it for me, and hearing that really makes me happy. The other thing that I love, and I think these guys would agree, is that I take their phones. Like I keep their phones. with me, and I keep their passports too, because I don't trust them. And I keep their malaria meds also, because I also don't trust them to take their meds on time. But not having their phones, they are fully engaged. They're fully engaged. They're not taking pictures unless they have one of those old timey snap cameras. But they're fully engaged and they're, actually watching the sunset. They're actually, one of the best parts of the whole trek was when they sang the last song on the last night. Melina Starlo started a dance party on the last night. It lasted about an hour and a half. And I was freaking out because I wanted them to get home, get to bed, so that we could do bed check at night, because we check in with them at night. And then the last night they exchanged gifts with their host families and, make some heartfelt comments about, the experience that they had. And I wanted to get to that process because I knew it was going to take a little while. So I told them they could do one more song, and Dakota picked what a 9-minute song. So, true to form, they took all 9 minutes, but it was one of the most amazing scenes that I've ever encountered. Just them all interacting with the kids in the village, interacting with each other, singing along. Some better singers than others, but they're all having such a good time. It was just a really heartfelt expression of joy. So it was really awesome. So,
and they expressed that since they've gotten back, they've hung out with people that they didn't prior. So those are
they'll be friends forever.
great.
So
Thank you. Thank you.
Picking a new group in April. So
All right.
we're not on the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I know, but we tried to sleep about it, but everyone just every year. All right, but it's good.
All right, so news of the schools, Kathy's meeting with the director of New York State athletics right now up the island, so I'm going to do athletic news. Unified Bowling is off to a great start. They are currently playing their last game and would be next Tuesday, March 26th. Unified Basketball will begin on April 2nd. You should all have an email that Kathy sent with the schedules. If not, she will resend it. We are off to a great start for spring sports. We probably have the largest number since COVID trying out for our teams. Non-league starts this Thursday with girls lacrosse, followed by softball non-league on Friday. All other sports contests will commence next week. Middle school sports will begin Monday the 25th. Karen?
Hi, good evening. I'm very excited to talk a little bit about a new program that we're going to put in place on Saturday, May 4th. Rob Rivera and our school resource officers, so the village police department, approached me about having a bike rodeo. And bike rodeos provide an opportunity for bicyclists to practice and develop their skills. I know that the Southampton School District has done one for the past couple of years. And so it's a program that will be open to all students K to 5, and we are going to do different times and grade bands so that hopefully we'll have a similar level of experience of students coming in a 2-hour window. And we will block off the parking lot, and there will be some courses set up, and students will be able to, to ride through the lot. Students must be able to ride their bikes independently to participate. They most certainly can have training wheels, but it's not a lesson in learning how to ride your bike. It's learning the skills once you're able to, to ride, and helmets will be required, and more information will come out about that. But looking at the calendar and kind of working backwards, I wanted to make sure that I had the opportunity to talk to you all about that. So that'll be Saturday, May 4th. On Tuesday, April 2nd, it is World Autism Awareness Day. So we're celebrating that at John Marshall with Lighted Up Blue, and we'll ask our students and staff to wear blue in honor of autism awareness. And then I think this is a reminder, we're putting on Shrek the Musical Junior, Shrek Junior the Musical, I should say. for the board, you're most welcome to come. We'll have a daytime performance at 9:15 a.m. I can ask Carrie to send that out again to you all. And then Wednesday evening at 6:00 p.m. for the evening performance. We're really proud of the work that they've done. They've worked very hard this year, and I think it's going to be an exciting show.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so public comment. Do we have any, LTV, do we have anybody call in?
Nope, there's nobody on the lines.
Thank you very much.
You don't have anything else, sir?
I know, right? Yeah.
No. They said it all.
Okay, so consent agenda. I have a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Any discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Superintendent's report and recommendation. Item number 1. So it's 10, right? Do I call it 10? When I
10.1.
10.1?
Say one.
10.1?
Okay. Yeah, 10.1, sure.
All right, so let's see. Recommended that the board approve the instructional appointment of Sarah DeLuca Brown to the position of E&L teacher as a leave replacement. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second. Discussion. Leave.
Absolutely.
Explain itself.
Yep, pretty much.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Recommended the board approve the instructional appointment of another, that's mine twice. Why do I have that? All right, you have to bear with me with this. I'm still. So it's a. There we go. All right.
So 10
That's one, there's one, all right, telling myself. Anyways, recommended that the board authorize the increase to the 2023-24 budget for the reserve repair expenditures, not to exceed 20. We did this? No, we didn't.
Can we do that?
No.
Oh, no.
No, that's.
Just the presentation.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. 20,755,000. I'm sorry, $20,755 for the purpose of replacing certain security cameras in the East Hampton High School and replacing the batting cage at the East Hampton High School. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second? Any discussion?
That was the presentation.
Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Number 3, recommend the board approve the contract agreement for the 23-24 school year, and it's for, what do we have?
It's for fixed assets, which we paid for them to do because the board audit committee wanted to do that.
Okay.
And the last one is the confidential secretaries in the clerical in the district. We have a settlement with them. Yes.
Okay, have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 10.4, recommend the board approve the school districts participating in the Eastern Suffolk BOCES joint municipal bidding program for the 2024-25 school year. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion is pretty standard. We do it every year, right?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 10.5, recommended the board approve the hiring of Park Line Asphalt Maintenance of Brookhaven, New York, in accordance with the terms and conditions set forth in said quote for the 2023-24 school year. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
Tim, this is adding what we need in the parking lot for the security camera stuff.
Right, so Parkline is going to do the, both conduit projects, one at the elementary school, and one here at the high school. We want them to do it, particularly at the elementary school, because they are ripping up the asphalt, to put in the new asphalt, so we want them to own the whole project. If there's any problem with the conduit, if we have a different contractor do it, they'll point fingers at each other when something goes wrong. And as long as they have the equipment here, it's far cheaper for them to just drive around the block than get somebody else to do it.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 10.6, recommend the board designate for the 2024-25 school year, Tuesday, July 9th, the 2024 East Hampton Union School District Board of Education Annual Reorganizational and Regular Meeting. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
That's our reorg.
Yep. Any opposed? number 10.7. Recommend that the board approve the budget transfers for the 2023-24 school year. Can I have a motion?
I'll make one. Second.
Sam, you want to, is there anything to discuss or overview?
Most of this is fairly standard. We do have some, we do have one budget transfer dealing with some, special education costs for students who are currently placed in private schools that we are required to pay for the administration of special education services for them. And so that's a bit of a change from the pattern of the past. We have budgeted for this at the new rates that we can expect to encounter going forward. Yeah.
Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Anything for old business? New business? Public comment again? LTV, do you have anybody?
No, we have no one on the line.
Great, thank you. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary.